Greetings, guys. Thank you for joining us for No Sleep in the City, a podcast about family law as well as asset protection.
That's right.
You are here with your neighborhood-friendly attorneys. My name is Genghis Shakan. I hail from the great state of Ohio. I am with my co-host, Miss Chelsea Wilkerson.
How's it going?
She hails from the great state of Georgia, South Georgia, that is.
Born and bred, yeah.
And today we'll be talking about everything family law as well as asset protection and estate planning. So thank you for joining us. We have a great podcast planned for you today. Today we'll be talking about, our topic is the wildest family law cases, some of the wildest family law cases that we have worked as attorneys.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to say that when it comes to family law, it is like the Wild West, right?
Yes.
All quiet on the Western Front. However, that is not the case when it comes to family law.
And we are your two gunslingers.
Yes, that's correct. All right, so we are two real attorneys. We're going to talk about some real chaos, real lessons, and some things that you may or may not have believed have happened in the family law cases that we have worked. So tune in with us as we basically get started on this journey. Now, what should you learn over the course of this podcast today? Well, a few things, right? So first, you're going to learn a little bit about how unpredictable family law can be and family court can be. Also, you're going to learn, if you are a potential client, you're going to learn about some red flags clients should never ignore. Third, you're going to learn how strong advocacy can turn a case around, especially if you're pro se. And so it's always great to have a good advocate. You know, we're a little biased in that regard. And then lastly, the emotional toll high conflict cases can take on, you as a client, as well as your advocate or your attorney. So those should be some of your takeaways today. So I have a few questions. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to ask my beautiful co-host here a few questions about some of the cases that she has handled. And some of the things I'm going to ask about are cases where maybe you've had a custody standoff. Maybe there's been parental alienation. Maybe the bailiffs have got involved, and maybe there's been chaos or brouhaha in the courtroom. Any people are marital torts. So all is fair in love and war. So please, if you wouldn't mind, Ms. Wilkerson, tell us a little bit about some of the wild cases or the interesting family law cases, and they can be about legitimation, child custody, divorce, UCCJEA cases.
Right.
Yeah, just go ahead and dive in, please.
Absolutely. The full gambit. And so there's no shortage of stories or learning lessons that you can have when you're speaking with advocates or family law attorneys. A couple that come to mind are some of our more recent cases in the past 12 months. Was a parental alienation case specifically. A father was trying to see his children. You know, he lives in a different state than mom. Mom, in their previous case, got custody of the children, primary custody. And so he simply wanted to exercise his visitation. This wasn't a situation where he was trying to take custody for mom. He just wanted to be able to see his children. But mom had cut off contact, cut off the phone, blocked him on the phone, blocked him on social media, and wouldn't even allow his extended family to reach out and try to maintain that bond. And so we get to court for our hearing on the modification case. With that, we want to modify it, but if we can really kind of come to the same page and get people to comply, that is our main goal. And that's a topic for another day, is how you can kind of leverage what you know to get what you want out of the case. But in this instance, we're here in the modification. We show up to court, of course, on time, dressed appropriately for court, and the opposing party is late. More than 30 minutes late to court. And for this judge, you know, she also elected to, upon arriving to court, elected to terminate representation of her attorney.
Oh, wow. Okay.
During the hearing.
Oh, in the middle of the hearing. Okay.
Correct. I was, prior to her arrival, talking with her attorney, saying we could negotiate. You know, it wasn't, you know, he was being cagey, but, you know, you never know. We have a pre-conference with the judge. But she arrived very late and then announced that she no longer wanted representation. I said, okay. Her attorney leaves, and the judge asks, because he had announced earlier, say, hey, the judge goes through the calendar. Is everyone here for their case? I stand up. My client stands up. The opposing attorney stands up. client does not stand up because she was not there. And so the judge later on asked, when our case is called to be heard, she says, when she's asked why she was late, she says, well, I just needed to take some time to, meditate and reflect on what was going on before arriving to court. That's beautiful. We respect all faiths in this great country that we are in. However, that is not an adequate response when you have been noticed for a hearing and are required to appear at a certain time. And so judge politely asked a couple more questions saying, okay, I understand that, but was there any emergency or anything going on? She said, prayer is an emergency.
Oh, that was her
Yes.
response?
Commemorating with God is an emergency.
Has she been sworn in before?
No.
Okay, so she
No.
just shared this with the judge. Okay.
Openly and was talking over him a little bit too.
Okay.
Throw that
okay.
in there. So while he's
Okay.
trying to patiently, because she's no longer has counsel, be a little patient with this pro se litigant, I'm going to kind of talk over you because she needed to minister to the judge, I suppose is what she thought.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit
Okay.
because she probably had some prayer warriors,
Oh.
all right, in her camp, and that can be wise counsel.
Okay.
Right? They might not be barred.
Mhm.
However, that can be wise counsel as well. So,
Right.
and prayer does help.
Right.
And so, we advise clients to, sometimes pray before hearings and,
Right.
and hopefully reach out to
Sure.
any kind of spiritual advisors.
Mhm.
But, just bear in mind, folks, that, unless your spiritual advisor is licensed to practice law, it's going to be challenging to get them in the courtroom to testify on your behalf. But-
Correct, to sway the judge.
Okay.
And so she did that but the problem was that the Lord did not tell her to be late.
Okay.
And her extended family was on time and she was not.
Okay. And the Lord does do things in decency.
He
and order.
does it in decency. Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll pass the collection plate in a little bit. Okay?
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, so in having these conversations, I think about some of the cases that I've worked as well. It's always fun. Sometimes working with our dads. A lot of dads are DIYers, right? So many of us believe in doing it ourselves,
Yes.
right? Have a problem with the plumbing? Yeah, I'll climb under that sink. Give me one of those monkey wrenches. Yeah, I'll torque that pipe. And I should probably say pause there. So
I don't know what that means.
Right, and I'll get it fixed. Right. However, the courtroom is probably a bad place for that to happen.
Worst.
So I can think of one case in particular, and you're probably very familiar with this client. We had advised this client, he was going through a divorce. We had advised him, hey, stay away from your spouse, go incommunicado. And he just, he didn't listen.
No,
Okay.
I know what you're talking
He ended up
about.
hiring a private investigator to really act as his agent to keep tabs on his spouse.
Secretly.
Yes.
We didn't know about that.
Which we advised, when we found out about it, we advised against it.
Right.
And he was later caught stalking his spouse. And of course,
Right. Himself.
yes, in person.
Right.
And then of course, when he was arrested, he had, narcotics on his person.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, he single-handedly destroyed his case.
Correct.
And
his
so-
freedom.
Yes, you're right.
For a period.
And
Mhm.
but as a caveat, we did get him out of jail.
You did.
And
That was amazing.
unfortunately, he killed his case. He had a great shot at getting all the equity in his home.
Correct.
He had a great shot at being the
Custody.
primary custodian.
Absolutely.
But
He couldn't keep it together.
he could not keep it together.
Crashed
so
out.
that would be one of my cases.
Yeah.
I'm full of a lot of regrets. We did of course have a lot of conversations with him.
Yes.
You had conversations, I had conversations, and we
Mhm.
implored him, please, take our counsel,
Right.
make certain that you don't
not.
do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And we
It's
might
very
as well
specific.
said, hey, do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And of course the case was pretty much dead on arrival right after.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you have
It's one of
any
those-
other cases come to mind that you've worked?
Absolutely. And I know I dragged on with the other case, but essentially when that other one that I was mentioning with the mom being late is the demeanor, but also being able to show the parental alienation in that case because of the lack of respect for the court and showing up late, how she spoke with the judge during the case, constantly interrupting, constantly talking over, constantly arguing, and also, with cross in preparation, talking with the client in advance, looking through the case law and the statutes, prepping our questions in advance. On cross-examination or asking her questions, she admitted that she had engaged in certain acts of parental alienation and keeping the dad out. And because of that, in that instance, this gentleman did take our counsel. He did listen to us, and he did get the outcome that he wanted in the form of his visitation, as well as a reduction in some of the costs he had to pay for his children on the same day. So
Okay.
that was one of the successes for our case, where our clients actually listened to us.
Okay.
We're not being braggy, guys. We say good stuff.
We know a little something.
We know a
right?
little something.
Right? those student loans, they
Right.
we have them for a reason.
Right. We earned them.
Right. All right. So I can think of a few more cases. I'm going to kind of do rapid fire here.
Absolutely.
We've had UCCJEA cases, which
wow.
are sometimes interstate cases, which can be between the states, or it can be between nation states.
Yes.
And I mean nations. So the kids can be in the United States, they can be abroad.
Right.
We had an opportunity to appear in federal court in seat 1, seat 2, versus another party who was
very experienced,
very experienced attorney.
Yes.
On the other side, she also had co-counsel.
Correct.
And mom had the minor child in Jamaica, the country of Jamaica.
That's right.
All right. And so we were in federal court downtown Atlanta, making arguments that basically Georgia is the home state for the minor child. And so that was a very interesting case.
It was.
Unfortunately, and this is a very sad story, we've had a client commit suicide before.
That's right.
And so that, very, very sad case.
Absolutely.
But these are, we've had cases of people hiding assets,
Correct.
right? So we've had, folks who on the other side that might be millionaires.
Right.
They don't want to comply with the court's order. They don't want to engage in discovery. They don't want to hand over documents.
Right.
They have digital currency, houses, who knows what they have. We've had
money in the roof.
Yes, right. Money in the mattress, money in the freezer.
Tens of thousands.
Money in the floorboards.
Literally.
Right. Money buried in the backyard.
Like James Brown, buried in the yard.
Yes. And we've had to hire forensic accountants.
Correct.
Right, on a number of occasions.
Yes, absolutely.
To address,
have to get a specialist sometimes to be able to find the money and track the money, because we're advocates. That is our lane, to use the law as a weapon. But sometimes you need third parties who specialize in certain fields to help you facilitate the case and get the evidence you need for your client. Even with all the cases you mentioned, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
Even with all the cases that you mentioned, speaking of burying the money in the yard, the hiding the money in the roof, and I highlight the importance of talking with your clients in order to prepare, or clients talking with their attorneys in order to prepare for your case. Oftentimes we have clients that want to hold things back because they don't want to be the bad guy, but that is one of the things you need to look out for, is that the other party will oftentimes want to be the bad guy, and they will use everything they have against you, and they will hide money if you allow them to hide money. Don't wait until the hearing to tell us that, they purchased this 6-figure car in cash. And I didn't see any of that in discovery. I never knew that before. Don't tell us while we're sitting in court in order to do that, because that's information we can use to get you a house, to get your bills paid, to get you vehicles. All of that is information that can be very, very helpful. But that is something to watch out for when you're litigating as well.
And I feel that there's a common motif and a thread pretty much going through everything that we've discussed. And
Absolutely.
it's, hey, you've paid for this counsel, at least for our clients, or for anyone who has an attorney for that matter.
Right.
It's probably, advisable that you think about and consider and listen to what they're sharing with you. It's ill-advised to just kind of disregard this counsel that you paid for.
Correct.
Otherwise, you're just burning money, right? If you're not going to do the things that you, that you are advised to by your counsel.
Correct.
Can you think of any situations where there might have been marital torts, and some people, may or may not be familiar with those? Those are, torts that are, committed
Absolutely.
during marriage. Or I can think of a situation of infidelity. It was a very interesting case where a wife had gotten pregnant by her paramour, right? When she was married.
If you think of the case I'm thinking of, it was twice.
Yeah, she was married. And so, of course,
Mhm.
there is a presumption that if you're married, that
Legal
those
presumption.
minor is a legal presumption that those minor children are the
Mhm.
fathers,
Right.
right?
The husbands.
Right. And
Mhm.
so if that is not the situation, which this
Right.
in this particular case it was not,
Right.
kids were DNA tested. They were
Not the
not
husbands.
the husbands.
He was not the father.
Side
Mm.
note: paternal fraud is a thing. That's for
Huge problem. A whole
another
episode. That's
podcast,
ours.
right? You
Right.
might want to see us if you have had kids out of wedlock,
Uh-huh.
and you are thinking about legitimation.
Yes.
You may want to give us a call as a dad.
Mm.
And I'm kind of free associating here because we did help. There was one gentleman who had been paying child support to his.
That's
This is
right.
another interesting case
That's
to
right.
his girlfriend.
Correct.
He was under the presumption that this child was his. He had been
Right.
paying it for some time.
Yes.
We got in
Pushed
the
him.
right,
Encouraged.
right. We got into the
Encouraged.
case. We filed a few motions, got that
Mhm.
DNA test back, and
He
drum roll,
was right. He was not the father.
he was not the father. He was not the father.
He was not the father.
Right. Tens
She
of
was
thousands
giving
of dollars down the
correct.
drain that he had paid in child support.
Right.
We saved him.
Voluntary child
right,
support.
voluntary. So we probably saved him another maybe $100,000
Correct.
in long-term support payments over the course
Correct.
of that child's lifetime.
Right.
So, this is why representation matters, guys.
It does.
Um,
Wise counsel.
but we were talking about the divorce case.
That's right, with the tort. Marital tort?
Well,
Or the
we're going to get to
infidelity.
the marital torts, but we were talking about the case where the paramour and
The
the
wife
wife had the children.
child.
And so we had to initiate a court process,
Delegitimation.
right? Basically,
Mhm.
get the actual biological father legitimized.
Yes.
But to do that, we had to loop in mom. We had to
Yes.
loop in the dad,
Husband.
and of course the presumptive dad is who we were representing.
Mhm.
And a lot of this was initiated in juvenile court.
Yes.
And so it can be a long, arduous
Yes. I know
process,
exactly what you're
right?
talking about. Yes.
Child support was involved, so we were in superior court as
Right.
well.
This happens a lot, guys. So I'm sifting through cases. I'm trying to track, but I know exactly who you're talking about. It's unfortunately this happens regularly. So it's several cases we could pull from. But yeah, you're talking about the multiple courts. Absolutely. I
Yes.
remember that. That was a lot.
Yes.
Happy
Because-
to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of times, child support will initiate their own case.
Correct.
All right. And if there's, especially if we're talking about a father,
Mhm.
and they're trying to either modify custody or be legitimized,
Yes.
a different case might be initiated. So a dad could end up possibly with two cases, right?
That's right.
And so one where he's the plaintiff
Right.
and one where he's the defendant in the good old state of Georgia.
Mm,
The Department of Child Support is on the other side.
correct.
All right. Well, could you think of any marital torts? We were supposed to talk about a couple marital torts.
Absolutely. So there's one that comes to mind, and the actual tort was technically against the paramour of our client. Now, the parties have moved on. They've been separated for years. And just as a tidbit, the law does look at that differently, where if the infidelity was the cause of the separation is one thing. If you guys separated and then got in relationships later, not saying you should do that, honor your vows, but it technically is looked at differently. But they've been separated, he moved on, she moved on, and he moved on with the young lady. And unfortunately, the woman on the other side, the opposing party, got very angry because our client had gotten very successful during the time of their separation and was pouring that into his new relationship in the form of building a home, a legacy, and a child with his new partner. And so went to the home and instigated an altercation with the young woman. And unfortunately, the police were called. The wife in that case was arrested. And unfortunately, the paramour for our client lost their child.
Mhm.
And so it was a very sad situation. And so in that circumstance, we did speak with our client and we discussed and agreed to amend the original complaint because he was the plaintiff. And to amend it to add the marital tort, to include in there the assault and the battery that we believed had caused the loss of the child. Because prior to that, our understanding is everything was healthy and on the up and up. That is one situation.
And
And
I
then-
know there
please.
are others, and
Yes.
and for the interest of time, I know we've also
Absolutely.
had cases where one party's been sexually assaulted,
Yes.
or we've represented
Oh, my
fathers who have been accused of sexual
Falsely
assault
accused.
during the marriage, right?
Correct.
Rape during during their marriage, rape
Right.
of their spouse
Mhm.
during the marriage. And so
Yeah.
those marital torts can
Mhm.
be very serious and can be
Right.
very, devastating.
If proven.
If proven, I mean, along with a lot of the temporary protective orders
Correct.
that we represent our clients in as well.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we thank you for joining us. You have been great. This was episode 1. Of course, please join us. We have a series of podcasts, and we'll be talking about a myriad of topics, whether it's family law, asset protection, estate planning. So please make sure that you lock in with us. In addition to that, we do have 2 books that are available
That's right.
on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Very exciting.
And so please check those out. There should be a link in our bio. Those are available for purchase in hardcover as well as paperback. And I
Nice.
believe you can also download those books on ebook.
Right. Read us
in
on your
ebook
Kindle.
format, yes.
Yeah.
And then there is also on our website as well as on social media. And you should please lock in and follow us on social media. There is a free download, so please check that out as well. Well, I've been Genghis Khan.
I've been
She's
Chelsea
been Chelsea
Wilkerson.
Wilkerson. We thank you again for joining us for episode 1.
Absolutely.
We'll see you on episode 2. Hey, you have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Later, you guys.